Dust and Neon. I played it at PAX West, loved it, gave it one of the Staff Choice Awards. And by Staff Choice at PAX West, it's JJ Choice Award.
It's JJ's Choice.
Yeah.
I'll get the video.
It was at PAX West. It was one of my favorite games that I saw at the show. When you play something like that in such a small chunk, you do have to wonder how good it will play as an overall gaming experience. And I'm happy to say that for the most part, it can hold your attention for the length of an actual video game, not just these little bite-sized chunks. It suffers in some aspects where there's enough of a story there that kind of leaves you disappointed that it didn't lean into it more. It's basically a mad scientist resurrects a dead cowboy and turns him into a robot to fight.
Tale as old as time.
Yeah, to like.
Still remember what happened to me.
Yeah, and so you're destroying robot civilization because he seems to be all pissed off that humanity has sort of been wiped out by robots. So. Because there's no humans in this game outside of this crazy mad scientist man. So it's a roguelike. It's an isometric twin stick shooter roguelike. It's what if they made a good Borderlands game. It has this sort of like almost aesthetic to Borderlands, where it's this like this neon Western aesthetic with comedy. But the gameplay cycle is incredibly satisfying. Because you have three weapons. You have your revolver, you have your shotgun, you have your rifle. And as you're playing through the levels, you start off with the bare bones. And then you can go to there's a weapons dealer if you've got enough money where you can buy upgrades and stuff. And it's a really sort of like pick and choose thing with how you want to play the game, because every weapon has its own advantages and disadvantages to it. And it shows there's a quick compare. Like when you find a chest in a level, you can like open it and it's a new handgun, a revolver, and you can push the button and it shows your gun that you have equipped and the gun that you can pick up side by side. And there's things like critical hits, speed, number of rounds it holds, and things like that. And I think the number of rounds a gun holds can... There's a fine line because you have to reload each bullet individually.
Oh, that's interesting.
So when you run out of ammo, you can see when the gun pops up on screen, each bullet that goes into the chamber is you pushing a button.
So the reload animation is like that's the reload animation.
That's the reload animation. It plays like an old light gun game where you have to like fire off the screen and pull the trigger to reload, except it would be like if you had to pull the trigger for each bullet as a reload. So if you have a handgun that has 9 bullets in it, sometimes in the heat of battle, having to push that button so many times to reload while you're dodging and rolling and trying. Hey, there's our logo. Can be kind of a hindrance.
Yeah.
But also like your default guns like only have like the shotgun only holds 1 shell and your revolver only holds 2 bullets. So like you're getting into a gunfight and you're constantly having to reload. So you want to get you're trying to find the perfect balance for how you play. And because it's a roguelike and you're gathering all kinds of like resources to upgrade yourself and money and stuff. And because it's a roguelike, when you die, you lose everything you've collected. If you haven't like spent it yet or whatever. So I haven't felt this sick to my stomach dying in a game in such a long time, because I was like on a good roll. I had a great loadout going, and you get to a point and I got overwhelmed by a stage I was in, and I died and I lost all of my money. And
so there's actual weight, which I kind of like, because a lot of roguelites, you'll just go until you die, and you're like, okay, dying is a part of the process, whatever, I'll just kind of do it again. But from your description, it's like you die in this game, and it's a gut punch, even though you're kind of restarting, it's still a gut punch.
Exactly. It's like the things that you've upgraded on your robot yourself are like, when you've made those upgrades, they're perpetual. They'll continue with you into the next thing. But when you find the loadout that is working perfect with you, and you just lose all of your weapons with no way of getting them back, it's I actually like sat there in stunned silence and just turned the game off and walked away. Like I was like actively mad at like myself, not like, because it's at the end of the day, it's like, it's not an unfair game. It's not like a Souls game where it's like it's trying to be actively unfair to you, or even some of the other like Rogue Legacy or whatever. It's like it's a pretty easy game to play. It's not particularly hard. So when you screw up, you screwed up. You made a bad decision. You didn't reload right. You like got greedy and tried to go for some other stuff. But and it has different missions, like, because you're basically a bounty hunter. So you go to like this map board, and you get to choose where you want to go. And some of them have like, oh, you have to sabotage this room, or you have to destroy the resources for them, or you have to take down these targeted enemies, or you just have to, complete the level. And when you go through it, you level up. And when you reach a certain level, that's when one of the robot bosses becomes available. It's like, well, now you've gotten some notoriety, and now the robot boss is looking for you. So then you can go select the robot boss and go into a fight with the boss. And if you lose in the boss fight, you have to go and play another level before it's like, oh, the boss went on the run, so you gotta like play a level. And then after that level, you can challenge the boss again, because they want you to pick up resources and be able to be at least a little more. It behooves you to maybe play a couple of levels, to maybe grind up your levels a little bit, or find the right loadout to deal with that particular boss. Like, because certain guns have certain stats to them, or like, so now that you know how that boss works, he has a shield that spins around him, or whatever, like, oh, it benefits me to have a shotgun that's strong with a quick reload speed or something like this. So, it really, there's some weight to, and there's a thought process. It's not just getting the strongest gun you can get, because sometimes you can find a stronger gun, but it's going to limit the amount of bullets you get. It's like, right now I have a 6-shooter, but this gun is twice as powerful, but it only has 2 shots or something. Like, it puts some weight into your decision. And sometimes, if depending on your skill set, it may benefit you to play that way or not, or whatever. It's just, it's a hell of a roguelike, and it's just fun to play. What
are you playing this on right now?
I'm playing it on the Switch. The Steam does have Next Fest had a demo, so I don't know if the demo is still a thing that you can get, but it plays really well on the Switch. I have a weird problem with the Switch version. I was trying to play with a normal controller. And I can play with a normal controller, but if you're playing in like any mode, even docked mode or whatever, the rumble wasn't coming through the controller, but you could still hear the Joy-Cons vibrating. So it was still reading it as desktop mode no matter what. So I'm going to hope that now that 1.0 is out, that they fix that. I haven't been back to it since its official release date, but
awesome.
But yeah, absolutely fantastic. It's perfect for handheld. I think this is one of those things where this is an ideal Steam Deck kind of game and an ideal Switch type of game. It's not asking a lot from you, and it's really nice. It's really good for short bursts because none of the levels are long. They're a couple of minutes. So yeah, this is on the short list of
nice
favorite games of the year so far. So yeah,
awesome,
love it.
Very good.